This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here for the December 3rd edition of the show here. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday so far. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend, your Thanksgiving weekend there. It was a fantastic Thanksgiving for myself there. The turkey, I told you guys I was making that turkey on the Traeger. Fantastic. It ended up fantastic there, so that was out. Sigh of relief there with that turkey. And then a huge sigh of relief. The Packers with a massive win against the Detroit Lions there on Thanksgiving. That was awesome. So we're going to get into that here on the show today. The Bears got the win against the Eagles on Black Friday. We got to talk about that because now the NFC North is a lot more enticing. It is a lot more enticing now that we are seeing the Bears. They picked up a win against a good team. The Eagles dysfunctional, so still some question marks, but the Bears looked good. So we're going to dive into that here on the show today. Elmer's going to be stopping by here. We're going to have some Packer talk here, probably end of hour number 1, working into hour number 2. We're going to talk about that. And then we have a little bit of Brewers talk to get to here later on the show. Hopefully we get to the Brewers. We have a little bit of Brewers talk. If we get to it today, we get to it. If we don't, we'll talk about it next week here on the show. So we got that. Badger basketball. The trip to San Diego was not a failure, but that game 2 against TCU, that was ugly. And it's left some questions again. So we're going to talk about that here tonight here on the show. So we got that to talk about. Badger football, an ugly performance. An ugly performance. That's all I'm going to say. An ugly performance against Minnesota. And it left a lot of questions heading into the offseason. So Christian's going to stop by next. We're going to hit our first break. We're going to come back, and then Christian's going to hop on. We're going to talk Badger football because there's a lot of question marks that came off of that game, especially the big one. Did all that progress that Luke Fickell and this team made going into that game, did it all get kind of wiped out? So we got that to talk about. If my voice starts to go today, I've been dealing, I don't even know. It's not really a cold. It's just my voice. Like my voice all of a sudden on Monday just started to go. Like it just started to get all raspy and started to go there. Then I had a headache going on, but it's just been mainly the voice trying to keep that cleared out. So if it starts to go a little bit, if it sounds a little scratchy, that's why. It's been it's extremely hard to try and clear it out to talk. So hopefully it stays clear for the entire show here. So we got that coming up. Kyle's going to be stopping by. We got some NFL talk to get to with him, power rankings, NFL talk complete. We got all kinds of stuff to get into there, some college football talk there. And then we got some Bucks talk to get to. Giannis is back. Kevin Porter's back. You know what that means. We have 2 additions back. We got to add 2 new guys to the show. The guys from Wisco Fanatics are going to be stopping by. They're going to become the new, what do they call it? The Bucks correspondents for the show. So they're going to be stopping by here, and they're going to be coming on week by week here to talk Bucks. And this Bucks team, as of late here, it's been a struggle. Hopefully Giannis and Kevin Porter being back, that's going to add a little bit, and it's going to make it a little bit better moving forward here. So we got some Bucks talk to get to here later on in the show. But I wanted to get something off the top here. Just a mention of something that happened over the weekend there. So the Malm family, a lot of people around the area have probably heard about this, but the Malm family, they're residents of Loyal. They had a devastating house fire over this Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, but over this Thanksgiving weekend there, they had it on Thanksgiving Day. And luckily, thank the Lord, everybody made it out safely. They have young kids there. Everybody made it out safely, but they lost everything. Everything's gone. It's terrible. It really is. Like when I heard about it, I said, well, I honestly said right away, I'm like, what can I do? Right? So I contacted the hardware store, because the hardware store in Loyal, they're Foreman's in Loyal, and then the St. Anthony's Church, and then also the Sweet Retreats, they are taking donations right now. They're taking donations. You can donate anything from pots and pans to clothing, whatever you have that you can donate. Get it in there to Foreman's, get it to Sweet Retreats, get it to St. Anthony's. Help any way that you can, because this is, I mean, we're talking about a family with 3 young children. We're getting closer to the holidays now, and this is just a terrible, terrible thing that happened. And nothing anybody could do. It's just one of those things it sucks. And anything that we can do to help here on the show, we're going to do it. And I'm asking that anybody out there, if you have the capability to donate in any way that you can, I would love for you guys to do it. So, and if you need help finding any of those ways to donate, definitely hit me up. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. You can hit me up, text line there. I can give you the address or anything like that where you can mail things if you wanted to, ship things to some of these stores, or if you need addresses to just maybe even drive there, drop it off yourself. Make sure you guys are doing what you can, because this, I mean, it sucks. It really does. And hopefully we can do everything that we can as a community to help them out here and help them move forward here. Because, and like I said, thank the Lord, everybody in the family was safe and that they have somewhere safe to go right now. But they definitely could use the help. So make sure you guys are, if you can, donate. Stop in there at Foreman's or Sweet Retreats or St. Anthony's and drop off any kind of donation items that you can. That is definitely needed right now. So we have a whole boatload of things to dive into tonight here. Christian's going to be stopping by next. We're going to talk some Badger football when we come back here from the break. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage is just getting rolling. We'll be back here into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment here is brought to you by our friends down there at Casa M Spice. The low sodium, clean label, no fillers, no MSG. This stuff is fantastic. Christian, the turkey, I said off top of the show, it went off without a hit. I mean, it was fantastic. It was great. I used that Casa M Spice on there, the pecking order, the chain reaction, infused it in there with my injector and a little bit of broth. Oh, it was fantastic. Put it on the smoker. Came off. The Thanksgiving came out without a hitch. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Thanks to our friends down there at Casa M Spice. Make sure you guys are checking them out there. Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can find them, Casa M Spice. You can find their website. You can also find them on there at all the Foreman's Hardwares, all the Ace Hardwares. They're in there. Check them out. Grab some Casa M Spice for yourself. So, Christian, hopefully you're doing better than I am, because my voice sounds like crap right now. How are you doing on this Wednesday?
I'm good. We're back. We're ready, and it's almost time for National Signing Day, man. Things are busy.
Oh, it is. It's exciting and then nerve-wracking, because it's like, well, who's going to be here? How are they going to scramble to fill a position? This and that. I'm over here drinking my dirty tea water. I forgot the honey. I said it, Chris.
No
right
honey.
Break. He's like, you loaded up with honey, right? I'm like, that's why it tastes like I put Miracle Grow inside of a thing of hot water and chucked it on the stove. That's what I got right now. Hopefully it keeps my voice clear. Somewhat clear. It ain't going to clear out, I can tell you that much. So Christian, we got to get to our Casa M Spice bold players of the week from this last week here. And I got to go with our guy over there, Dontavian Wicks. He was absolutely fantastic for the Packers in that win over the Lions on Thanksgiving. Honestly, if you would have said that Dontavian Wicks was going to have the game sealing catch, and the way that it happened, where he had to leap up, go get it with a guy right there, I'd have told you were crazy. I would have told you were crazy. 2 touchdowns in the game, 6 receptions, 94 yards. He was nothing short of fantastic. It was the Dontavian Wicks game. And you love that, because in 2023, when the Packers were rolling, it seemed like it was a different receiver every week. This was Dontavian Wicks week. Christian Watson had a good game too, but this was Wicks week. Maybe next week we're going to see somebody else, but that's the Green Bay Packers that we were missing. We were loving Wicks. Hopefully this is good sign to come, because the drop passes have been a nervous thing with him, with drop passes. A lot better in this game here. Loved what I saw at Dontavian Wicks. So Christian, who do you got for me for your Casa M Spice bold player of the week?
I know we talked about Blackhawk, but I think I'm going to switch. I'm going to go with Nick Boyd from the game before, in the Providence game. Dropping 36 points.
Oh, yeah.
7 rebounds, 7 assists. And then a huge blow win. I know they went on to lose to TCU the next game, and he didn't do anything. But give me Nick Boyd. That was a crazy performance. Went 11 of 16. Shot almost 70% from the field.
When he's feeling it, he's feeling it. But when he's not, he needs to learn how there's a safety on that trigger. That's what he needs to learn. And that Nick Boyd, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that later, or in the next segment when we're talking a little Badger hoops. But there's those two together, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to dive into with Badger men's hoop. But I would agree, he was fantastic in that game there against Providence there. So we got to get to our Badger football, because, I mean, I just got to be honest with you. That was the worst possible way the season could have ended. That was the worst. I didn't think, the way that the season was trending, I didn't think that there was, I thought it was going to end terrible no matter what. But you went 2 of 3 against 3 ranked opponents, Washington, and then you lose to Indiana, which was kind of just expected, but you played well. And then you played Illinois and you beat them. And you're like, wow, they have a chance to win another one against Minnesota to wrap up the year. All the momentum is in their favor heading into it, and then nothing. It was ugly. I mean, Christian, is there any other word to use except for, wow, that was ugly?
I don't think so. Just extremely disappointing. I mean, like, thinking about the last 4 games, and just looking at that, I figured, man, that Minnesota game would have been the most likely one they would have won.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even though it was on the road, but like, whatever. They've won on the road before in Minnesota, so it's not like it's impossible to do. But I didn't think they were going to obviously beat Indiana. I didn't think they were going to beat Washington. I didn't think they had much of a chance to beat Illinois. But I mean, I think all 3 of those games they played pretty dang well, and then just laid a big stinker in the last game of the year. The one that most fans probably would have been like, this is the most important of the 4.
Right.
Right.
Even before that, Oregon lost 21-7 at Oregon. I mean, they were, everything was trending up, and then it just fell flat on its face once again. And it just feels like it's the trend. It really does. It feels like it's the trend of Luke Fickell, is you get this hope and then you lose it. And we had this last season. They went through a pretty good stretch last season there, and they kind of just fell apart towards the end. I was just trying to look back there to see what they did last year. They had that 3-game win streak, beat Purdue, beat Rutgers, beat Northwestern last year. And then they laid the egg against Penn State, got shellacked by Iowa, lost to Oregon in a close one, got shellacked by Nebraska, got the crap beat out of them by Minnesota last year. I mean, they've had these years. Last year, they were one win away from being bowl eligible. Couldn't do it. Now this season, if everything went right with the world, right, they could have ended up being bowl eligible again. But I don't think everything probably went right, because they needed all those teams to go like 3-15 or something like that in that last.
Yeah, there was quite the it had
elaborate thing to happen. But you had another season where you had an opportunity, especially Minnesota, get the axe back, go into the offseason, go into recruit, early signing period week, give your recruits a pretty good impression of you, and now. I mean, did Luke Fickell take all the progress that he made? I'm going to ask this question, and I want to hear everybody's opinion out there. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. Let me know what you guys think. Did Luke Fickell take all the progress that he made, and did he go backwards with it? Are we back at that uncertainty again? What do you think, Christian? Where are you at? Did all that progress that he made, those 2 wins, those 2 massive ranked wins, does this loss take away from that?
I don't think so. The fan in me wants to say yes, because of course we lost to the Gophers, and you don't want to lose the axe and all that. But like, again, this team was beat up so badly. We were on our 4th string quarterback, and yeah, Carter Smith's supposed to be the guy, right? But I don't know. He can throw, like he can do stuff, but like he literally couldn't against Minnesota. That's why they put Hunter Simmons in that entire second half. And if you got Hunter Simmons as your quarterback in a game like and he was actually doing, I think he was actually slinging it around pretty well, but it was one of those things kind of like Braden Locke. At some point, yeah, he can look really good, make these crazy throws, just like rip the ball, have the ball just ripping out of his hands. A pick's coming, and it's just like huge drive killer twice, back-to-back possessions. I don't know. So I don't think so. That's the thing. So yeah, that definitely like sucks to end on that and go into the offseason with that. But I think it also gives us some clarity that maybe Carter Smith's not all the way there yet. He might be the guy next year, but you at least have to bring in some competition for him. You can't just let him just walk into the starting job, right?
Right.
So they know, okay, we need a guy that can absolutely pass the ball. So we absolutely have to get a quarterback or 2 out of the portal. So I think, yeah, it sucks losing to the Gophers. It sucks losing the axe again. It sucks going out like that. But, like, I don't know. I think it gives you a little clarity on definitely what we need to, do and what they need to address in the offseason. Now that they have that, infusion of cash that McIntosh says is coming, they should be able to get someone. Right? Multiple people. But, like, at the very least, quarterback, I think we can all agree, was, like, the Achilles heel of the team all year.
Right.
I saw someone tweet this, and I absolutely agree. Like, if there's any position to overpay on right now, it's quarterback. like you have a guy you're offering $2 million, they offer a little more, you offer $3 million.
Yep.
You offer, it doesn't matter. You just do what it takes to get a quarterback. But then with our luck, that quarterback's probably going to get hurt within the first game or two anyway.
Yeah, we got to keep one of these guys around, like Hunter Simmons, just to start week 1. So that way, whoever he's going to get hurt first, and then we bring in the other guy. That's just how it's going to be. So,
there you go.
I want to say the progress wasn't completely lost, but I thought the decision making in this game, like you said, with Hunter Simmons for Carter Smith, it didn't make sense because Carter Smith practiced with the ones all week. He was your guy all week. Why did it change in the Minnesota game? Because he couldn't throw the ball? Well, Hunter Simmons, as we know, and as you just said, he's got a touchdown to interception ratio of 2-7. He's got 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the year. So you were playing with fire. He had one good throw, and you were like, yep, there he is, right? The one good throw to Vinny Anthony. But Carter Smith on the game, what was he, 5 for 7? He wasn't bad. He was moving the ball. Wisconsin, I mean, you were playing a field position battle. You lost it due to turnovers. And not being able to move the football once again. Because multiple times Minnesota started with they couldn't get the ball past 50. I mean, everybody came out of that game, and I saw somebody down ESPN Madison. I shared it on Facebook. And he's like complaining about, Minnesota's Wisconsin's little brother because they stormed the field. And this is what's terrible and this, that. I'm like, you know what's terrible? Wisconsin couldn't get the ball past the 50. They had 2 costly interceptions in that game. There's a lot of different things that went wrong. And we're complaining about Minnesota storming the field. Who cares? Like, who cares?
Oh, yeah, who cares?
I'm so sick. They want to storm the field. Let them. They won the axe. Great. Good for them. They did it. Good for them. All hats off to them. Because it's a big rivalry. So I would expect Wisconsin fans to storm the field if they won. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
So, like, I'm good. I don't care about that. What I care about is right now, when I look at this team, Minnesota controlled the trenches once again. You went into the offseason, right? If you're Luke Fickell, and you said to yourself, the big thing was the Iowa game, right? Controlling the trenches, everything like that. But that was also the Minnesota game. And you once again got manhandled in the trenches. That's nervous. That makes me worried a little bit. Because now, what is this offseason going to be about, right? Like you said, you got to go get a quarterback. Yeah. You got to get a top-tier quarterback. You know what the hard part about getting a top-tier quarterback is? There's like 30 other teams that want one. You know what the hard part is? There's not 30 top-tier quarterbacks out there. So now you're in a bid war, like you said, and you got to bid a lot. So now how do you build up the trenches? So, Christian, I'm going to ask you, do you believe – this is, I guess, one of my worries, and I want to hear what you think. Do you believe that guys are getting better in Wisconsin, developing? Because I'm losing track of seeing guys that are getting better, right? We see some of these young guys fill into roles and play good, right? Mason Posa, Catalano, those guys. But, I mean, I could look across and say, like, what offensive linemen's got better? What defensive linemen's got better? I mean, they showed spurts. They showed moments. But I can't, like, Mason Rieger was a transfer. I can't count him. Mason Posa is a freshman. I can't count him. Catalano, I can't count him. Like, is that a worry of yours, too? Is that you're in a program right now where you can't spend as much as these other ones and you're not developing the players like you used to, I guess?
I don't know. It's hard to tell because – what is this, year 3? And when he came in, he brought in a ton of guys from Cincinnati that were already like, upperclassmen, guys like Paulus. And, we had all these guys that came in, right? So then he got his first wave of recruits come in. And honestly, I felt like last year there was just this large exodus, especially of secondary players that he brought in with two that are gone, like Amari Snowden and Braden Moore. And, all these guys are gone now. I just feel like – and then you got guys like Kevin Haywood, who was supposed to be – I think a redshirt freshman, but he had, all this potential in the world, goes down in spring for the whole season. Like, that sucks. That's a huge, huge piece. So, I mean, it's hard to tell because I feel like especially with the portal, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, guys just leave, if they're maybe not getting playing time or they're not happy with the coaches or it's just not what they thought it would be, or I don't know. And it felt like he kind of leaned on, the guys that were here already when he got here and the guys that came with him right away. So I feel like we really haven't seen a whole lot of, his recruits from his first, I guess, Emerson Mandel we saw. I thought he played relatively okay this year. Like, it wasn't necessarily a big weak link. I didn't notice him like I noticed Davis Heinzen all the time or Kerry Kadenko. But I mean, but even by the end of the year, like, that line wasn't nearly as big of a liability as it was at the beginning of the year, right?
Right.
So I don't know, I think I'd like to say, yeah, that I've definitely have seen a little bit, but again, like, I don't know. You got guys like Daryl Peterson, who I was like kind of saying, like, what happened to this guy? And then all of a sudden he absolutely just turns it on the last 3-4 games of the season.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to tell
because of all the missing pieces around.
Exactly. That's the easy way out that I'm gonna cop out here, but like it really is just hard to tell. So I'm not sure if, like, I don't know.
It's so hard to judge what he's done because of you could always use the cop-out answer of the quarterbacks are hurt, or you could use the answer of the running backs were all hurt, or the linemen are hurt. And it's like, okay, but after a while, you gotta find a way to make it look like something. And I don't think they found a way to make it look like something at times on the offensive side. So it makes you question Jeff Grimes going to the offseason. Now, he didn't have a full offseason with the team, so we'll see how it goes here going into next. It's just the worry, I guess, and I guess we'll end the Badger football talk on this one, but are you worried about recruiting? Just because I don't know if recruits know what they're getting themselves into, right? We hear from Mason Posa Catalano. They're like, yep, like we can see the vision, it's going to be something in a while here. But then it's like, you look at the outside looking in. And if I was a recruit and they said, you can go to Iowa, you can go to Illinois, you can go to Wisconsin, or you can go out west somewhere. I don't know if Wisconsin's my top pick right now, even though I'm a Wisconsin guy. I'm looking and I'm like, man, I don't know if this is going to be pretty if I go there, if I'm an offensive player. So I guess, are you worried, I guess, about the signing of the early signing guys and all that, of seeing that vision of what this program could be versus what we're looking at now?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They just lost one guy, today to Iowa. I mean, granted, the guy was signed or committed to Wisconsin as a tight end. And then Iowa comes in, they're like, hey, we think you're doing really well at the defensive line. And the guy had a crazy, really good senior season. Wisconsin's also like, oh yeah, cool, that's cool. We'll play you a D-line too. And he still flips to Iowa. So we lose a guy like that. So that's the thing. If you're in the Midwest, Iowa, they've been playing really well. Even Minnesota's taken all of Wisconsin's recruits, even though, I mean, this senior season, there wasn't really that many of like high end recruits, not like the next year is. And you can tell Wisconsin's really like putting like a concerted effort in like keeping those guys, because I mean, and that'll be huge because there's a lot of really good offensive line talent. There's a really good tight end in that group. So I think, I don't know. I think it all just depends. If like maybe it does help. You see like Mason Post and Catalano, and there's like, you know what? Yeah, like I want to be part of that, the group that turns the program around. Maybe you have some pride in the program like that, right? But if you're a guy that's just like, I want to win, like now, maybe, I don't know, you're going somewhere else. I want to get to the NFL because the Badgers haven't been putting guys in the NFL lately either.
That's where you're almost like you're going to lose out on a lot of the big recruits. So now you got to get the guys you got to develop, because like you're saying, those guys who are 4 stars and that, they're close to NFL. Like they're not ready yet, but they're closer. They want to win now. They want to look good. They want to get as many games in, which means playoff, which means, bowl games, that kind of thing. And being in a program where it's been lackluster as of late, not exactly the spot that's going to put them in the spotlight, right? The big games and everything like that. So yeah, I'm in a worrisome state with that. I can understand where they're like, okay, we just got to, get the right guys in the room, everything like that. The right guys will come around. Okay. But you still, right. You're trying to attract still good quarterbacks, everything like that. So it's going to be almost a diamond in the rough kind of guy. If you find one of those, like a Russell Wilson coming in, like it's been a while since you had it's been forever since you actually had a really good quarterback. So, I mean, it's not been quarterback you ever. So we'll see what the Badgers can do here moving forward. We're going to talk early signing period, the guys who signed, everything like that. We'll talk about that next week here on the show, just because we're pre-recorded, as you guys know. So we don't know everything that happened tomorrow, technically, right? Today, Wednesday. So we're going to talk about that next week here on the show. We'll get into all that. When we come back from the break, Christian's going to stick around. We have Badger basketball talk to get to here. We're going to talk about that trip to San Diego, moving forward, everything like that. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment is brought to you by JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery. At JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery, they take pride in their work because your image is their business. Check them out there. They do fantastic work. They're doing t-shirts for us too. If you check out the Facebook page, Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade, all socials, make sure you're following them. But Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade, you can find the website there. Go order yourself a t-shirt, hat, sweatshirt, whatever you need. Somebody on your holiday list needs something. $5 from every purchase will go to our fantastic non-for-profit group, Warm Kids Wisconsin. So, I mean, check them out. Check it out there. Grab a warm hat, maybe a sweatshirt, shirt, whatever you want, and then $5 from that purchase will go to Warm Kids Wisconsin. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than helping the kids stay warm this winter season here. So, Christian is back. We got to do we got a consensus because we both had the same. We're going to do good, bad, and ugly off the weekend. And we had the same consensus, good, bad, and ugly. So, the good, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it's self-explanatory. Beat the Lions. Yep. Beat the Lions twice this year. Got that win there on Thanksgiving at Ford Field. That was fantastic on national television. Once again, Jordan Love showed out there. Matt LaFleur was aggressive. It was fantastic. We're going to get into more Packers next year on the show, but that was fantastic to see. The bad from the weekend has got to be the Badgers, the way that they finished that little tournament out there in San Diego, men's basketball there. It wasn't – the Providence game was great. The TCU game, we saw the ugly again. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but that was our bad. The ugly has got to be the Wisconsin Badgers football. Wisconsin Badger football was, there's nothing short of ugly. We talked about, if you guys missed that, we just talked about it here last on the show. If you want to check that out, listen across all podcast platforms tomorrow, next day. You can hear us talk about Badger football there. That was our ugly. And then honorable mention ugly. We made sure to include that. We got Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss situation because that's a disaster. I mean, Christian, just quick hitter on that one. What were your thoughts of the Lane Kiffin thing? I mean, he shouldn't be able to coach at Ole Miss.
No, absolutely not.
No, I can't believe anybody's fighting for it.
No, it's like, here, I'm going to leave you, but here, let me just try to get some extra glory, and go coach through the college football playoff, get all the credit for that, and then I'm dipping, right?
Right. It's like, no, dude, you left. You're going to a rival. We don't like Ole Miss doesn't like LSU. They're not people from Ole Miss do not like LSU. So Why would they want you, who is going to coach a rival, to come and coach them through the playoff run? Nah, see you later. We have an offensive coordinator that can step up and be the head coach. We can figure this out. We'll be fine. I think that they're
wasn't that guy on the plane with Kiffin to go to LSU? And then
I was just about to say that.
Coach? What's the deal with that?
The offensive coordinator is going to LSU. They're just allowing him to be the offensive coordinator for this. So hopefully there isn't some undermining baloney that is going to happen there, because it's going to be a 30 for 30. I guarantee it. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah, it's going to be. I can't wait. I can't wait for that 30 for 30. College football stinks. The whole layout of the early signing period, transfer portal, everything like that stinks, and that's why we have this situation. It's Lane Kiffin. I don't care that Lane Kiffin feels bad that he can't coach them, but it's also a college football problem because they allow they have the early signing period, the week of conference championships, the season's still going. You're going to run into this problem because you have to get to your new destination to be able to recruit guys or bring guys with you. So they created this mess. That's the mess that we're seeing in front of us. But we don't care about that. We don't care about Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, anything like that. We want to talk some Badger hoops because the Badgers, 5-2, they went to San Diego. We were like, okay, they got this matchup against Providence. If they win that, we were expecting Florida. Full-fledged, I was like, no doubt in my mind, Badgers are going to play Florida if they win. They didn't. They did not. TCU pulled off the upset win against Florida. So they got TCU in the second game there. So we can talk about the first game, but there's not much to talk about. The Badgers shot the lights out of the building. They were fantastic. Second game. And I'm going to go with the TCU game and the BYU game together because this is the ugly that I'm seeing. This front court for the Badgers, the front court, has got me really nervous. They're not physical enough, and Nolan Winter has played better. He actually has been pretty good against some pretty good bigs. So I don't want to completely hate on Nolan Winter here. But Austin Rapp, the way that we went into this season was this front court was supposed to be good. They were going to be a very good, a force to be reckoned with. Really good scoring, physical, get down low, be able to add a post presence to this team, aggressive, all that. I'm not seeing that. And the consistency from the front court is not there. So I don't know, Christian, I'm worried about the front court. The back court, Blackwell and Boyd, they're going to be fine. I think they'll be fine. Boyd's got to learn how to settle down a little bit. They got to learn how to live together like Batman and Robin. They have to learn how to be together. So I think they're going to be fine. The front court for me, that's my worry because there's just inconsistency there, the aggressiveness. Austin Rapp is not an inside presence at all. He's nothing on the inside. Actually, when he gets downhill, he actually like makes me nervous driving because layup a sure thing. The front court's a worry. I mean, are you worried about that front court for Wisconsin?
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that as the season goes on, they'll figure it out, because again, like we've talked about with the transfers and all this stuff, it's, this isn't a group that's played together a whole lot. I think they still have a lot to figure out. And I think that's why Guard kind of, scheduled some tough competition with like BYU, things like that. Like we saw them just blow teams out earlier before that, like Campbell and Northern Illinois and all that. And like, that's not necessarily making them play together because that could just be one guy, two guys just kind of doing their thing and they still can beat a team. Right. So like now Big Ten starting up Wednesday night tonight. And then the guy Marquette on Saturday, but that miss, I think that'll make them better. So I think I'm not worried about it yet. I think Austin Rapp's still trying to figure out how to play like big boy basketball. Right. So like playing in the Big Ten, playing all these, quad 1, quad 2 teams and stuff. We're not in Portland State anymore. I think that'll help. But yeah, it is a little concerning so far, especially since he was brought here to shoot threes and he's shooting like 29% on the year. So it's not great, but
it's a lot of rust. It's a lot of rushed shots for this team right now. They're trying to force a lot of things. And I think that is because they do lack the inside presence. They don't know how to score if the three's not falling. Then they get out of control. Nick Boyd starts to drive downhill too much, and he starts to get out of control there, going too fast. And then John Blackwell, he starts trying to do it. He actually doesn't get involved enough, actually, in my opinion. I thought John Blackwell actually hesitated away from his shot at times. And then in that TCU game, he's like, all right, I can take over. But then when he was getting hot, Boyd was still trying to do too much. And it's like, okay, feed the hot hand. But this team struggles at times, and it's been like this. They stick on one side of the court too much. They're not working the ball around, finding open shooters, driving lanes, finding those lanes like that. And I talked about it going into that BYU game. I said they're going to have open shots from three because BYU is going to overhelp. They're going to be able to get open shots. Can they knock them down? They couldn't in that game. But then when those shots aren't falling, as we've seen twice now, TCU and BYU against BYU, how do they find the offense? They have not been able to find an offense when it's not working. Last season, it was big on like Tanjay and those guys getting downhill, but getting to the free throw line. And when you get to the free throw, I mean, look at the Arizona game. They don't win that unless they shoot, 40 free throws in that game? Like, they don't win that game unless they shoot 40 free throws. That's why they won the basketball game. But they did that by getting downhill and getting to the rim and allowing the refs to dictate what was going to happen there by them driving the lane. And you saw it last game. Tanjay faded away from the contact instead of going into the contact there against BYU in the tournament game. What happened? They lost. This team right here, that's where I'm talking the aggressiveness. They're not taking the issue of going to the rim and making things happen. They're trying to allow the game to come to them instead of going after it. And that's where my worries come. That's where my worries come is with the aggressiveness of this team to get after it. My question to you is, and this is going to go along with the aggressiveness, ever since the Badgers decided, well, not decided, but, they said, let's go offensive oriented. Let's, more shots. We're going to get more shots. We're going to run a little bit, everything like that. The defense has taken a backseat. And my problem is that when it's going right and they can put up 104 points, everything looks great. But can they beat a Purdue team when Purdue is slowing the pace of the game down? Can they beat a team like a Rutgers or whoever when they're slowing the pace? Michigan State, Michigan State doesn't always score 80. They're down there in the 60s a lot. They'll win 60 to 50. Like, Wisconsin doesn't have the versatility to play a defensive battle anymore. So I guess that's my concern. Are you as concerned about that with, I guess, I don't know if that'd be more of a program problem, and it's not going to be fixed this year because you're not going to be able to fix it. But, well, you can tweak things, but you're not going to be able to fix personnel right now. But my worry, I guess, is that, okay, Rhodey's a pretty good defender. Nick Boyd, pretty good defender. Blackwell, pretty good defender. Austin Rapp, I guess rim protection is probably my big thing. I guess that's my biggest worry right now is the rim protection. But it's just that defensive. They allow too many drives to the basket, too many kickouts. They allow guys to get downhill too easy to get to their spots. I guess that's my biggest concern with this Badger team is they're kind of letting that defense take a back seat to trying to score a lot. Is that a worry that you have where it's like, okay, we're not really focused on the defensive side now, which I think needs to come back. I think they need to focus more on the defensive end because right now I think that's where they're getting beat bad in fast break points, everything like that. They're getting beat bad in that way. Is that a worry that you have is the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of that is because of the offense, right? Like they'll defend, get a stop or a turnover, something like that, and then they get the ball up the floor and it feels like they're 5 seconds into the shot clock and they're shooting a three. And then they don't. I mean, they've been better this year, like getting offensive rebounds, I guess, than like last year. But I feel like, I guess I have no stats to back this up. I feel like they're shooting more threes this year than they did last year. And like really, the only guy I ever see going in is Blackwell, Blackwell and Boyd. Like there are two guards, or the only guys that are constantly attacking the hoop, which is weird, right? Nolan Winter likes to shoot his threes. We all know Rapp likes to shoot his threes. Rhodey doesn't really shoot at all. So like. I don't know. Rhodey's kind of the defensive guy, and everyone else is just kind of there, like on the defensive end. Everyone else is more of an offensive threat, and I feel like a lot just falls on him, on Rhodey, and then Carrington when he's in too. Those are the two big defensive guys, right? And then I think the big guys, Will Garlick is the only guy that is much of a post presence defensively, but. He's a true freshman and he's so raw and he makes so many mistakes, especially on offense. So he's a liability there. So I think it's just, I think like what you're saying, defense is a problem because if we can't stop anyone and we are falling in love with the three over and over and we're not hot, that's a problem because then we don't work it inside. We don't It's always the threes. I think they just tied a program record. I don't know if it was the Providence game or the TCU game. They just tied a program record for 43s attempted in a game. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think the defense is a problem, but I think also just offensively, all they want to do is shoot threes. That's all they want to do. Yeah. And then even if they're not falling, shoot to get hot. And it's just if it doesn't work, that's when you see what happens against TCU and BYU.
Yeah, I mean 7 for 28 against TCU from 3. 7 for 28 against TCU. I mean that's a lot. That's a lot of threes. And
25%.
Yeah, 25%. And a lot of threes and they're not falling. And that's where I guess the worry is you can't find ways to knock down shots. So that's where if you're Greg Gard in a game like that, and that's where I guess the defense is my worry, is in a game like that where shots aren't falling, you basically have to say, okay, we have to change the game plan now, right? Shots aren't falling. We're not hot. Mm-hmm. How are we going to change it? We got to play defense. We have to keep this low scoring because Badgers of the past, Bo Ryan Badgers, right? It wasn't going to be, 90 to 80. It was going to be 60 to 55. It was going to be 70 to 66 because it was free throws. That's where I guess we're missing from this team is the ability to change the game. And to change the way that they're going to play a game by what's happening. If they aren't knocking down shots, they're going to lose. That's it's kind of cliche to say it that way, but I mean you can watch these other teams. You watch a team like UConn, they can adjust in a game. You watch a team like Duke, you watch a team like Kansas or BYU. Those teams can adjust to the pace of the game, how the game's being played, what needs to happen at certain times. Shots will start to fall, but what are you going to do to get to that point? So that's I guess the worry of this defense right now is that they don't have the ability to get consistent stops. And I don't know how you fix that right now. It's got to be better communication, shooting lanes a little bit better right now. They're letting guys get downhill too easy. These guards, these guys, they get downhill too easy on this team. They get out of position too easy. And that's on Greg Gard to figure out here with this defense. I'm not worried about the offense, actually. I'm not. I mean, yes, they lost to TCU and they weren't shooting the ball well, but that's because they're relying too heavily on the three. They could fix that. Drive, move the ball around, find open cutting lanes, all that. They go away from cutting. They're such a good passing team, yet they don't cut. They're complacent. They stand in one spot. Find a way to move the basketball around. That fixes the offense. Defensively, there's a lot of things that got to happen over there. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know if Austin Rapp is your best option defensively. He's like a Connor Essegian. Honestly. He's a taller version of Connor Essegian. He's a 3-point shooter, but defensively, he's not really the guy. So we'll see what kind of happens there with that situation, everything like that. But Badger basketball, like you said, Big Ten play opening up here. They got Northwestern. I believe that's as we're talking. Yeah, that's as we're talking. Yep. Well, 8 o'clock tonight here. They're going to be taking on Northwestern. You know Northwestern, they play physical all the time. That's a physical team. They're going to get after you. We're going to find out how physical this team can get when you play a team like Northwestern because they like to get after you. They're a defensive team. They love to do that. So, I mean, Northwestern should be a good game. Marquette coming up this weekend, big game there. And then next week, they got Nebraska right away. So Big Ten play opening up, some big games. Connor Essegian done for the year. I saw did he have surgery or something? Yep. He's done for the year.
He had like ankle injury I saw, so he's out for the year.
Poor guy. Poor guy. I feel so bad. Prayers to that guy. Prayers to that guy. Hopefully he comes back stronger at like St. Bonaventure or something.
He get out of the conference.
Yeah, he could be good at somewhere else. But anyways, Christian, I got to run here. Thank you for stopping by tonight. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
As always, you can find me at Christian Borman on pretty much all the social media, and you can find my work at thebadgerbacker.com.
Oh, make sure you guys are checking them out. Tons of fantastic stuff happening around the Badger world right now. Badger Wrestling's actually got some guys up there in the rankings right now. Badger Volleyball is currently they're getting ready for
NCAA tournament starting up.
Yes, sir. There we go. We got some postseason play for Badger Volleyball. They're fantastic. They've been playing fantastic as of late. So hopefully that continues in the tournament. Badger Women's Basketball, they had a pretty good game against Ole Miss over the weekend there. Challenged them a little bit. So, I mean, Badger Women's Basketball is on the They're getting better. They're getting better. They're better than they were. Basketball. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's all we can ask for is that they, getting up there. And then recruiting, signing period is happening. So he's going to be covering that. Make sure you guys check him out there, Badger Backers. So we're going to be back here for the break. We have some Packer talk coming at you. Elmer's going to stop by. We're going to talk Packers at the end of hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, we're going to continue that Packer talk. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And this next segment here, Elmer's stopping by. We get some Packer talk to get to. This next segment is brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com there. If you guys want to be involved in any portion of the show here tonight, if you want to let me know that my voice is sounding like absolute crap tonight here, make sure you guys are texting the show, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914, or at me at Twitter. You can at me on there and I can read it off of there, or you can hit up me on the Facebook Messenger or whatever. Just find us across all the socials, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. So Amr is here. Before I lose my voice, I got to take a drink here. Amr, how are we doing on this Wednesday?
Good, man. I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. It's been a crazy week. We were supposed to get snow yesterday. We didn't. And so, yeah, for the most part, it's not too bad. I can't complain. I'm riding the high from Thanksgiving and just really enjoying a lot of the commentary on social media related to the Bears, who are acting like they've never been there before. So they're feeling themselves right now, which I can't blame them. So, they had a good game on Friday. And, yeah, they're definitely – excuse me, I think I'm messing up too. They're feeling themselves right now.
They're feeling it. We're feeling it. It's just rough right now. It's just rough. But, hey, I mean, like we said, the Bears had to prove it to us. They had to beat a good team. They beat a good team. That's what they did. I know it's a dysfunctional good team, but a good team nonetheless. So they found a way to win, and that's all that matters in the National Football League, right? It's just stacking up wins when you can get them, and that's what the Bears are doing. So it's going to lead up to a good game here coming up on Sunday. And then also, I saw the Bears game got flexed to primetime, 7:20 there for the December 20th matchup there. What is that, a Sunday? Or that's a Sunday, right? Is it a Sunday or a Monday?
That's Sunday night, I think. Sunday night.
Okay, that's a little bit better. Sorry.
It's Saturday.
It's a Saturday? That's even better. That's even better. We can go. We're gonna do a live stream that day. We're gonna do a live stream that day. We're gonna do one of those like watch alongs or whatever. Let's get real fired up there as we're watching Packers Bears. That could be fun. So Packers Bears, we got 2 matchups in 3 weeks. We're gonna get into all of that here. I can't wait. But we got to talk about what we watched there against the Lions, a Thanksgiving game that once again, the Packers are as good on Thanksgiving. I don't know what it is. Jordan Love in primetime, Jordan Love in the national spotlight just ends up playing well. And that's what we saw once again in this game. Amr, I'm going to ask the question.
Okay.
Why does Matt LaFleur change the way that he play calls week by week, game by game, because of the opponent that he's playing. Is it crazy that I want him to find a way? Like I want him to, like Dan Campbell. What's Dan Campbell's MO? Like if I were to say, how does Dan Campbell play call? You would tell me what?
He's very aggressive.
Very aggressive, right? And like you have play callers who are conservative. You have play callers who are overly aggressive. You have play callers who are in between. Matt LaFleur goes both ways. Like he's a roller coaster. Like he's like, I want to be aggressive this week. And then, I want to be this. And then I want to be. It's like sometimes I just want. Is it crazy for me to just want to see Matt LaFleur to find a play style? Like I feel like he's missing that identity in his play calling, where he tries to change himself to the opponent that he's playing. When I listened to, like Nick Saban said, they said, somebody asked him, they're like, do you change up the way you practice because you're playing this opponent that week? He's like, no, because if you change, why would you not prepare for every game the same way? Why would you change the way that you prepare for a game just because you're playing a better team or a worse team? It's going to make you play worse against that worse team. Right. So why do you change the way that you play call? I get that you're going to have different, like you had to scheme up for like a Myles Garrett, right? Or somebody else. I get that you have those guys, but you want your play style to be aggressive. You want your play style to be overly conservative. Which way do you want to go? Is it crazy to think that you want to have almost like a identity? And I feel like at times he lacks the identity of what he wants to do.
I mean, for me, I think the one thing we noticed from LaFleur, like I think in the beginning of the year, he was really trying to figure out his team, right? He was trying to figure out what he has, what he doesn't have. I think the last 3 weeks when Jordan did get hurt in that Giants game with the shoulder, I definitely think he took a step back because he didn't want to risk him getting hurt anymore. Minnesota game, he was definitely still trying to protect that shoulder. And then after that, Jordan must have told him, hey, I'm good. Let's let it rip. I think what we're going to see now, I think you have a valid point. We'll be interested to see how he attacks Chicago because you're kind of like in playoff time, right? And the biggest thing that we always know, like you remember back to the Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was the kind of dude, like he didn't like game plan for his opponent. He just basically was like, hey, this is our offense. This is what we run. Beat us if you can beat us, right? And that worked for many, many years up until it stopped working. Because then, he couldn't like really conform to defenses. Defenses were figuring it out. They realized they could do too high shell, man press, and disrupt the receivers on their routes because they were just making everyone, win their one-on-ones instead of like scheming people open and things like that. And because of that with LaFleur, you get the same kind of approach you do with him like you do with Hafley, where I feel like they do try to game plan every week for the opponent that they're playing. Now, you're right. When you do that and you're playing like a team like at the time, Carolina or Cleveland or even Giants or just all these teams that aren't really that good. Yeah. Do you play down to the competition because that's how you're game playing it, right?
Yeah.
But I think what he tries to find out is that team that he's playing, what their weaknesses are. And he just tries to focus on exploiting that over and over again. And sometimes he's in that mode and he doesn't break out of it. So it will be interesting to see what he does here because, against Detroit, he knew that they play heavy man. Like they play probably 95% man and rarely play zone. And that's the way they've coached when it was Aaron Glenn and how they're coaching with Kevin Shepard. And I feel like when it comes to that, and as long as you're willing to get the protection that you need for your quarterback, you can get plays down the field. And if you watch that game, like Jordan was pressured a lot. There was a lot of times the pocket was collapsing around him, and earlier in the year when that happened, he would take a sack, he would throw it away. It would be just terrible, right? And he was playing fearless. Like I don't know if Toyothon's now going and he's just popping up. I think there's a little bit of like LaFleur giving his quarterback an opportunity to make plays. His quarterback is making those plays, and the playmakers that he's throwing it to are also doing their job. And that's what we didn't see in the Philly game. That's what we didn't see in a lot of these games where we lost, right? Yep. And we're starting to see it now.
I feel I had to look this up because I was just thinking about this, and I feel like this is the way that Matt LaFleur coaches, and Hafley kind of goes along with him. They coach the way that you categorize chess players.
Yes.
So there's 4 categories that you put chess players into. If anybody knows, they're probably like, let's just go, okay, go along with me. You have the activist, right? The activist, they're going to create threats. They're going to play aggressively, okay? Mm-hmm. The pragmatist, they're going to be cautious and avoid complexion. They don't want to get too complex on them. The theorist is going to they're going to play the game where their preparation gives them the edge. And then you have the reflector. And this is the way that Matt LaFleur likes to go sometimes. They analyze the opponent's strengths and weaknesses and adjust their play accordingly. So he tries to adjust himself to what the opponent's going to do. And he thinks that he overthinks that portion, right? Because what was it against Carolina? He tried to go side to side too much, right? He didn't go straight ahead. He tried to go side to side. He thought he could beat him to the edges. That was a failure. Right. Instead of just being one style, and I might have just blew it up there with the chest thing. Maybe it made no sense. I don't know. I thought maybe it made
no,
sense.
you're right.
Either way. It's like he has to find – you have to categorize yourself, right, as a play caller. How do you want to call games? I think you got to stick with that because otherwise you're 1 week you're going with this and the next 1 week you're run heavy. The next week you're this. The next week you're this. The next week I want this team to find their identity. I feel like they lack an identity. Are they a run team? Are they a pass team? It changes. Some weeks it's like, oh, we got to see more of Josh Jacobs. And then some weeks it's, oh, we got to see more of Jordan Love. And then it's like, okay, but we're not seeing enough of either one. We're not seeing enough play action. We're not seeing enough of this. But that's because we're not finding an identity. We see the play action. We're like, ooh, that worked really good. But then he goes away from it for 2 weeks. And then he comes back to it. It's like, ooh, that was really good. Matt LaFleur, 2023 Matt LaFleur was so good at scheming up games and being aggressive. And he did not waver the way that he was calling games.
Right.
And that's what I think he's gotten away from. Whether it's he's scared to let Jordan Love just sling it, or he's scared of this, or he's scared. You just got to throw that to the wind. What we saw against the Detroit Lions is the Matt LaFleur that if he calls games like that moving forward, nobody's going to complain. Nobody. Right. If you let Jordan Love be Jordan Love, you saw a team, like you said, that went heavy man. That's what they want to do. They run man. They think that they're going to go mano with you. The way that their coach likes to coach is the way they play. I like that. They thought that they can go man-to-man. Now, did it work? No, because the Packers, receivers, really good. Christian Watson can blow top off you. Dontavian Wicks has got some of the best separation in the league. It's just he didn't have the hands to go along with it. We saw that all last year. Now he's getting open and he's finding ways to catch the football. So it's just completely taking that to the next level. You're going to get Jaden Reed back. You're going to have Matthew Golden back. This team has a boatload of weapons. Be aggressive. Utilize them and be aggressive. That's the play style. That's the ammo. That's the identity that I want to see Matt LaFleur get. And to find, just stick with it. Just stick with it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be mad if Jordan Love throws a pick, but you were aggressive. If you went for it on a 4th and 2 on the 40-yard line and you didn't get it, but you trust your defense then, I'm good with it. So that's where I'm kind of at that point with this Matt LaFleur team is I want to see him find an identity and run with it. And right now, what I saw against the Lions, you do that against the Bears, I think you're sitting good. I think you're sitting good in that one. That's a good team. That's a good team in the Bears. They can run the football. The pass game is still a little suspect, but they can run the football. That's still a good team over there. So the injured reserves. We see some guys coming off there. Colin Oliver, Lloyd, Brenton Cox. We saw Reed come back last week there. So we're seeing some guys coming back, right? Right. Devontae Wyatt is going to he's done for the year. I mean, we saw that injury. Yeah, I said right as it happened, I said there's no way he did not just break everything. Like that was gruesome. That was bad. He was having a great year. It sucks, but he is going to be out for the year. So, I mean, do any of these guys actually make the roster?
Oh yeah, I think right now with the way our defensive line is, because
outside of Jaden Reed, of course, outside of Jaden Reed, the others.
Yeah, Jaden Reed's coming for sure.
Reed's coming for sure.
I think Marshawn Lloyd will be a good element to have if he can stay healthy. He adds another element to our team that we probably don't have right now. Yet he reminds me a lot of a combination of Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson. Oop. He's kind of built like Jacobs in the sense of size, but then when it comes to like speed, he has like, Emmanuel Wilson speed, right? Yeah. And it's like, so he could be a good, like a good, like break, like, change of pace back. Cause you don't really have that right now. Like Chris Brooks is a great pass protector. He's decent. He's a above average player, but he's not like that. He's not built like that. Right. Now, when it comes to Brenton Cox is having a good year. I mean, what was it? I think it was like his first, second week he got hurt, but before that he was in there. He was making plays like him, Barre, all these guys that are like, backup players are actually performing really well. So having like more pass rushers is not a bad thing, considering the fact that we just lost Wyatt. Carl Brooks is banged up. Colby Wooden has been kind of in and out of the lineup as well too. Lucas Van Ness is still injured, right? So it may not hurt to bring in a guy like him. Then Colin Oliver, we don't know what we have there.
Yeah, that guy, he's going to be a guy who's going to be like a red shirt. Like,
yeah, I think so. But like, if he can get healthy and he can show up, and he could, show up on special teams because he was a special team maven at Oklahoma State. And on top of that too, I don't know if he'd be a pass rusher more so. I feel like he'd be a hybrid between a defensive end and a linebacker. So he'll play in between those two positions, right?
Yeah.
I can see all three of them making the team if there's a role for them, right?
Yeah.
Colin Oliver will be the one where I feel like they did that with Kean Oladapo last year. Like he didn't play at all last year. He was redshirted. I feel like that might happen to say with Oliver, but the other two, I think, then they'll come back and they'll find a way to make them fit. Question is, like you said, where do they go?
Right, and it's going to be a big question. We'll see what they kind of do if Lucas Van Ness if they maybe move him to injured reserve, all that kind of stuff to see what they're going to do there. So we're going to come back here. We're going to hit the hour break here. We're going to come back. We're going to continue this Packer talk here in hour number 2. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage.